Hello, everyone, and welcome to another edition of Before the Green Flag on GMSRacing.net. And this week, the NASCAR Capable Truck Series returned to Eldora Speedway. And Josh, I know you are absolutely excited about this. So, for GMS, what do you expect for Spencer's first time at Eldora, and also for Ty Dillon to be coming back in the trucks?
Well, this is about the best week ever. Racing on dirt and then having the ARCA series back at Lucas Oil Raceway Park. I don't really know how life gets any better than this. So,
Two victories.
yeah, two victories would be nice. Yeah, looking forward to it with Spencer. He's just coming off his first ever dirt feature win at Antioch Speedway this last Saturday night in the modified. So, Spencer's had a couple races on dirt in the ARCA car, finished second at Springfield. He's been running a crate late model, wins this past weekend in a modified. So he was actually saying last week that he almost feels like he's getting more experience on the field on dirt here this weekend. So it's always, I mean, we only do this once a year, and not a whole lot of guys have a whole lot of dirt experience. So it's kind of hard to figure out what to expect, but with all Spencer's experience on dirt, I'm looking for good stuff.
I'd say you hit on something there because Spencer's probably got a bunch of races compared to everybody else. Because when we started this 2 years ago, everybody was like, "Oh man, what do we do?"
Yeah.
There was nobody that really had any dirt experience. The Dillons, Joey had some dirt experience, and that was it. A few races here or there. But now the guys are either doing it or they're just still kind of trugging along doing the same thing. And Spencer did the right thing by really getting in those modifieds and those crates and racing. I think that's going to help him out a lot.
Yeah, Ty's going to be. It's great going to have him back in the seat of the 33 this week. He's, Ty and Austin have, they ran their whole career on dirt growing up before they got into the ARC series and the truck series. So he totally whipped up down in Volusia back in February during speed weeks in his modified. Those guys race a lot of dirt constantly. So, Ty's been a full-time truck guy. He ran really, really good there last year. I think he was running top 5 till he got spun out there. But, both those guys have run really good. And, we say it every single week. The 33 guys always have speed, and you combine that with Ty's dirt experience, and I mean he should be one of the guys to beat here on Wednesday night.
I mean the Dillon brothers as a whole in Eldora have been extremely strong. Austin won the first race, like you said. Ty was extremely strong last year. I think he got bid on a pit road penalty, and then he got spun out late in the race. But other than that, he was the class of the field. Next to Larson there, trying to knock the wall down every lap, but. I think you go back there with Ty and Spencer together and let them feed off each other and work off each other. It's only, it's an opportunity for success.
And Ty's run their late model race too.
Absolutely.
Plenty.
So Spencer's going to have a lot of experience he'll be able to pull from with Ty, and we're actually able to catch up with Spencer and get his mindset as a driver. What's it going to take to conquer Eldora?
Eldora is always a big question mark for any truck team, but I've had little experience in the big heavy cars and the ARCA stuff on dirt. Been running dirt cars since the start of this year, really, so I've gotten a good bit of experience sliding around sideways, so I'm looking forward to what we can do. I think the biggest thing that's going to transfer over to the truck is just how important that drive-off is. I mean, Eldora is a track where even on brand-new tires, the best run you're ever going to have, you're still never really going to be wide open going down the straightaways because these things are so big and heavy, and you just can't get any drive-off. So that's going to be the most important thing that carries over from the dirt cars is just how important it is to get those rear tires to hook up, and you got to sacrifice everything to get to that point.
So in addition to actually going on dirt this weekend, there's actually going to be a lot more changes for the trucks. And Josh, what's kind of the new qualifying process, all the things that are going into the race weekend?
Well, for everyone that's not familiar with dirt, or I should say with dirt racing in general, we've kind of adopted a pseudo dirt racing kind of format here. We're going to do our normal practice stuff. And we're going to do the normal qualifying. It's going to be single truck qualifying, but then we're going to move into heat races. And, well, they call them qualifying races, but really heat races. There's going to be 5 heat races that set the 32 truck field. So the heat races get lined up based on qualifying time, and the results of the heat races determine the starting lineup, and then we'll have a last chance race and all that. So the interesting thing about it is, usually we show up to the racetrack and we practice, and we'll do qualifying trim, then we'll qualify and then go race. And this stuff, you have to get a good qualifying draw, or you have to get a good draw position, number one, so you can get the right the right track conditions to post a good lap so you qualify up front in your heat race, because these are really, really short heat races. So if you finish third, fourth, or fifth, in your heat race, you're going to be way back starting mid-pack. And we've seen the last 2 years here, it's a top lane dominant racetrack at Eldora with us at least. So track position, even though it's on dirt, track position is going to be really huge, because everyone they fan out, and track position is really important. So it really starts with a qualifying draw, so you can get a good spot in your heat race and finish up front.
But it's not to say that it can't be done, because it's all, not forget Norm Benning 2 years ago.
Yes.
And just going balls to the wall all the way out there, and he made it in. But, Josh is right. It's a complete different world in all aspects for all these guys. A lot of them probably have no idea what they're getting into, even if they went to it last year, because last year, which was my first year going with the truck series there, was different than the year before that we all watched it on TV, just track condition wise, and even a little bit of, how the weekend was run. Tony Stewart, who owns the track now, last year I remember sitting there and he was prepping the track himself, driving the tractor around. He had all his guys out there putting water down and everything, calcium. And then the year before that, it was even, different. So, someone like Coulter, who went both years, can tell you that one year was really tacky, another year was really slick. So it's going to be interesting to see what they do this year, third year, make sure drivers can't expect anything, because, expect the unexpected. And I think it'll be a much better race.
Yeah, and the track surface is always dependent on how they prep it, and you never really know until halfway through the night. Once we get those qualifying races in the book, are they going to prep it? There's a late model race in between our qualifying races and the actual race itself. So it's kind of a moving target on how the track surface is going to be. They had a ton of rain this past weekend for their World of Outlaw event, so that's going to play into it too. And then also the race itself, we're going to run 60 laps, 50 laps, 40 laps, and you cannot gain position on pit road if you choose to pit during those two segments, or in those two breaks in those segments. So gaining track position, you're going to have to do it on the racetrack all night. You're going to have to do it on the racetrack, because I'd be shocked if anyone pits during a caution flag in one of those segments. So it's going to be at a premium for sure.
Yeah, I remember last year, I think the segments were key. Almost everybody came down, and it's not really a pit road. And even though it's a segment and you have to pause and your guys can go out there later, it's still chaotic and it's still all over the place. So, big thing would be the crews and how they're prepared to do that 5-minute segment, and what they can do and what they can't do, and make sure there's no penalties, because if there's a penalty, you can lose a spot still. You just can't advance yourself on pit road. So it'll be interesting, but it'll be interesting how many fans come out. Last 2 years have been packed house. The Kings Royal, which Josh just mentioned, which was past weekend, was packed house, and they raced till 4:35 in the morning. I think early. I saw Shane Stewart won the race. So it'll be interesting, and it'll be great to see all the people out there and just kind of hobnob with them all, and see Stewart driving that tractor again, and hopefully get one of our boys to victory lane.
Yeah, this truly has turned out to be not only one of the best shows and most exciting races in the truck series, but in all of NASCAR. Everyone's looking forward to it. Everyone's looking forward to watching. If they're not racing, or if they're not with the team, they're going to be in Eldora checking everything out, because it is truly a can't miss show. And if you've never been to Eldora, you have to go. It is a bucket list venue for sure.
And we are actually able to catch up with Shane Huffman and get his thoughts of going through the crew chief mindset of what's it going to take for taking in all the variables of the track, your crew, and everything, and what's going to take to get in the victory lane.
Well, I think for the Eldora trucks, we're just simply looking for a forward bite. It's just a different animal to hold together. I mean, the truck prep's a little different as far as the mentality on, you're probably going to hit the wall at some point, with the right rear quarter, so you have to kind of brace for that a little bit more so beforehand, and be on the prepared side of that, for practice and the race. More so for after practice, because once the race starts, you pretty much got what you got. So, just doing everything we can to be sure we have all our I's dotted and T's crossed for every possible scenario, really. There's just so many variables at Eldora that we're not used to seeing, say like at a Pocono or Michigan or places like that come into play for us. So, we're pretty versatile on our setup stuff. We can go a lot of different directions on that, just depending on how the track, whether it takes rubber, don't take rubber, or whatever happens there. So it's going to be different.
So continue on with Josh's greatest week of racing ever. Now the ARCA team's going to be heading to Lucas Oil Raceway. And for Grant Enfinger, what do you guys see for him and the ARCA team to find victory lane this weekend?
Well, I mean, we're excited. Lucas Oil is just coming back on the schedule, really, because it was there for a while. It was gone. The NASCAR races were gone from it, and it kind of just sat there. The drag strip was still being used in the background, and we're slowly coming back to it, and hopefully one day we can see the trucks even go back to it. But it's a great racetrack, really racy. It's flat. It kind of is like a short track New Hampshire style racetrack almost, and it's usually extremely warm when we're there, so the track's slippery. You're sliding all over the place, and it changes from day to night. It'll go loose at night, be tighter during the day. So it'll be really interesting. And Grant's coming off of Iowa. We had a pretty strong finish there. So, just looking for a really solid points day. Obviously going to go for the win. And I think it's a track that suits him. It's a track that he doesn't have a lot of experience at, but internally at GMS, we do. Spencer's been there before. Shane Huffman won the race there last year with Brandon Jones in the ARCA race, which was only a second ever ARCA race. So we have a lot to lean on, and I feel like it's going to be a strong weekend.
Yeah, it's a real shame that we don't get to race the trucks at IRP or Lucas Oil Raceway Park, because that is such a great racetrack. But it's really fun to watch there because the drivers have so many different options. You can diamond the corner and run real high in the center and cut it down low. You can run right on the bottom part of the banking. You can use the apron. I mean, there's just so many places to go, and it makes for such a great race. I mean, you can race 2-3 wide there all night, and tires always seem to play a pretty big role. That's a pretty old surface, so Lucas Oil Raceway never disappoints. It really doesn't. It's one of the best. I mean, for me and my money personally, that's one of my favorite tracks on the ARCA series all season long. So, Grant finished fourth there last year. This was his first race with GMS Racing last year. So, this is the first place going back to that those guys have some experience working together. So. We love short tracks. I mean, it seems where this team excels, and I don't see this weekend being any different.
Yeah, it really is. It's the 1 year anniversary of Grant coming here, so it's a big weekend in that effect. And it's a big weekend because all the Cup guys and Xfinity guys are over at the Brickyard, and you'll see a lot of them throughout the weekend while we're there. They'll come over. The spotters will be over. The drivers will be over. So it'll be a packed house. And you got the USAC guys there, so that's always a really cool show. So the infield's crammed. The stands are usually crammed. And it hopefully just keep put on a good show for the fans this weekend.
And we were able to catch up with Grant and get his thoughts on what's it like heading back to Lucas Oil Raceway and what's going to take for him to get into victory lane.
LOR definitely isn't your typical short track. It's real flat, but you kind of hold the wheel pretty straight all the way until you get the late center, and then you need it to cut really hard, and then it's kind of a drag race up off the corner. So a lot of the short tracks we go to in the ARCA series you kind of got to keep your momentum up. LOR isn't like that at all. So kind of sliding up the wall. You can run the lower groove if your car is working really good. So it's definitely not your typical short track. I'm excited about getting back there.
So a lot of great racing action on tap this week and weekend for GMS. And guys, what are your final thoughts heading into this week?
I'm going to make sure I pack my bubble goggles, my mud shoes, and get ready to get after it and have fun on Wednesday night. It's always fun doing something different. It's fun road course racing. It's fun short track racing. It's fun going dirt racing. So it's really fun to be out of our element for a week and do just something completely different.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm looking forward to it. Like, I'm going to Eldora with you guys this weekend to cheer on both trucks. So it'll be fun to be there and get down and dirty and see how everything goes, and then making the trek over to Indianapolis with Grant and the boys, so we can go short track racing. I'll be spotting there. So it's two totally different worlds for me in all aspects. So it'll be a fun weekend. I think it'll be a productive weekend for GMS. We just have to keep ourselves in the game for both races and keep our noses clean, and I think we'll be out there at the end.
So both races will be on Fox Sports 1. The truck race will be Wednesday, July 22nd at 9 p.m., then the ARCA race will be at 9 p.m. on July 24th. Also, be sure to follow GMS on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook to stay up to date with all the racing action. Check out gmsracing.net for all the pre-race, post-race, and everything in between. And for everybody here before the green flag, thanks for watching this episode, and we'll see you next week.